Welcome back, my friends. We're about to hear the second half of what Kenny and Stephanie have to share with us today. If you remember last week, we talked through diabetic car accident. We talked through heart attacks and open heart surgeries and all the challenges that they had went through. And now Kenny, when we left, Kenny is struggling with cancer, to survive cancer, but he left us with the idea that he was so lucky. And I just, since I've recorded the interview, I've constantly thought about the fact that Kenny would use that term, that he was so lucky. So come back. Let's go back and look at it again. And my friends, you're going to be shocked what is in the second half. And yet you're going to take comfort and you're going to find hope in what their attitude remained as they went through the things that they did. Kenny and Stephanie are really close friends. They're our cousins. Love them dearly. Let's hear what they have to say as we continue on with the story of Kenny and Stephanie.
Just, and then over at chemo, I'd go in once a week, and I sat there, and it made me realize when I was sitting there, and I'm looking at other people, and they're just like they're just like wore out, they're tired, and I'm thinking, why am I so lucky? Why am I what's going on that makes me? I'm taking all this really medicine inside of me.
Wait a minute. You're doing chemo
and radiation,
and you've got cancer, and you're asking yourself why you're so lucky?
Yes. Why am I get this stuff put inside of me, I get up and I walk out and I drive myself home. No side effects, no ill effects, I'm not losing my hair yet, which I did eventually, but I'm thinking, I'm looking at these other folks, these other people, and they're just like, I feel so, I shouldn't be here because I feel great. I feel good. And these four people are just, they got to be wheeled in on chairs. They got to be wheeled in. And I'm thinking to myself, but I wonder, what kind of relationship do they have with God? What kind of relationship do they have with Jesus? And I had the opportunity one time, this young lady came in, it was her first treatment, and I just said to her, I says, don't worry, these people will take good care of you. And I says, and there's one other person that always will take care of you, and his name is the Lord Jesus Christ. He's always with us. And she said, you're right. You're so right. And I says, well, with his strength and his power, we'll get through this with no problem. So it was the idea that you hear cancer, oh man, you're in radiation, oh, it's going to kill you, it's just going to drive you crazy, you're going to do this and this, and chemo, oh, you're just going to be bad because all these chemicals are putting in you. I really never felt down, depressed, anxious. I went there to have fun.
You look forward to going, I think.
Well, one thing the nurses are not supposed to do is let you see the needle that they put into your port. I had a port that was put in right here. And they're not supposed to let you see it, but apparently she didn't. I had such a great relationship with the girls there. She laid it on my chest right here. And because she had to do something else, something fell over, she had to grab it real quick. She laid it right here, and I looked at that, and I go, holy smokes, you put that thing, it's about that long. She goes, you're not supposed to see that. I said, okay. I didn't see it. Mm-hmm. I felt it. Mm-hmm. So then it was one of those things, and I had such a great relationship with her that one of the nurses that loved seeing me come in, I said, so, you got any dull needles today? She goes, yeah, I got one today, and I drug it across the floor and made sure it's going to be really dull. I said, there you go. And this younger girl, it's like her second or third. What? I said, I'm sorry. No, they're good people here. Mm-hmm. But it was just, and going a little forward, in the last treatment of my chemo, I remember it so well. Sitting in there, brought a bunch of donuts in for the girls, and I just, felt bad because I didn't get to see them anymore. They're just great. It's just they're so supportive, so caring. It's not a job to them. It's like they're there. You need to eat crackers. You want to eat pop. You want to eat soda. You want this. You want that. I said, no, I'll grab my pole and I'll go get it. I said, I might even do a little dancing on it too, about the pole. They just, oh man. So the last day,
So how long?
Uh,
How long were you in treatment?
6 weeks total.
6 weeks total.
6 weeks total.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 weeks of chemo and 6 weeks of.
How was he at home?
Fine. Like when you hear
So he
these-
wasn't one Kenny there and he was another Kenny at home. He really did have.
He did have
Because
good,
I remember you during that time too, because you and I would talk on the phone or whatever, and you were always positive.
Yeah.
But he was still Kenny at home.
Yep.
The same Kenny.
Yep. And he didn't know about the times that I was in the shower crying and
Sure.
praying
Absolutely.
because I had to be strong for him. But, and he would say, either way, I'm a winner. And I'm thinking, but I'm not, but I just let him go. And we did our Bible together and we did our praying together and
Sorry about that.
did everything that, sometimes it was almost frustrating at how positive he was. But then I got to the point, too, where I really wasn't worried about losing him. I didn't believe I was going to lose him. I believed everything was going to be okay. Again, though, we had just come off. Actually, his very first chemo was exactly a year to the day from my open heart surgery. And he stayed home with me during my open heart surgery. We lost all that pay.
Right.
I was thankful that I had, again, to me, thank the Lord, I had enough sick days. We had a bad winter, so a lot of those snow days saved my sick days. After my open heart surgery, I actually went back and still had 4 sick days left.
Oh my goodness.
Then we're getting into now, he's off work for his a year later, so we're trying to figure out finances. God bless Jason and the people of this community for the dinner.
That's right.
And because that money, honestly, my mom said she would pay 3 house payments. I only needed her to pay 2
Nice.
because of all of that money. And even in the end, I'm still paying hospital bills, but I needed the money to pay to keep our house running
Right.
and to keep our cars and keep the things we worked for. And that money did that. And so I knew then now, okay, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay financially. But also,
And
I
it
only
used to-
had so many sick days.
Wait a minute. It used to anger you, or not anger you. It used to frustrate you when I would say, "Don't worry, everything's
Yeah.
gonna be okay."
But
God's got
I'm the
this.
one that goes right to budget, and I got to figure out. So
God's got this.
with us. Yeah.
God's got that. I kept
Yeah,
saying, "God's got
it,
it.
and-
God's got this." And,
right.
and that's just one. There was two of my chants. One was no weapon. Isaiah 54. No
Yep.
weapon formed against me will prosper.
That was we said that every day.
And another one was, God's got this.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what it's all about.
So was that just blind? What's the word I want? Blind ignorance,
No.
or
Trust.
was it
Faith.
just trust
Faith.
and
Just
faith?
And trust.
I mean, I had shirts made. We had a church shirt that was made that
Oh, yeah.
my God is stronger than lung
Mm-hmm.
cancer. We had that saying made on a shirt for him. And he had the I'm a badass, I survived cancer. I mean, it is.
I didn't quite like that word, but you know what? It's the truth.
Mhm.
I'm bad. No, anyway, but going back to what the last day of my chemo, and I apologize if you want. The last day of my chemo, It was an overcast day. It was cold. No snow. I was watching the birds.
It was the last day of radiation.
Last day, no, chemo. Last day of chemo.
Okay.
Overcast day, cold. And I walked, it was in February. I walked outside, and at Myriad Cancer Institute, they've got like a carport, to people who drop off. I walked out from underneath that. Sun came out. You have the sun hit you in the face, okay? No. The sun hit me. I felt that warmness right through me. I knew right then, I'm cured. I'm going to be okay. It was a wave. It just, I never, I have felt the sun in my face before, but it was like the best way I can explain it. I'm being cleansed. Mm-hmm. So I shared that with Stephanie when I got home, and I just knew. But that was on a Thursday, because I usually get, it was a Thursday. Friday was my last radiation treatment. Went in there, girls, it has been awesome, but you know what? We're done. We're And on the way out, rang the bell, and I was so excited. I rang the bell. I actually broke it. I was so excited. Going down the hallway, and I was just like, yeah, we did it, we did it, we did it. Guys were looking at me, and I said, yeah, they let me out of the nut house. There's no more room, I just have a blast. Phone rings. It's my son.
Okay, wait a minute. Before we get there, you felt all that excitement.
Right.
But you still had surgery to go through.
Oh, yeah, but I knew I was okay.
Right. And
yeah,
you knew that, not because some doctor told you.
Right.
But because Jesus had told you.
Thursday, when he washed me clean, I knew I was good. I shouldn't say clean, but when the Spirit came through me, the Holy Spirit, when I felt that, I'm good.
So I have to ask, and I wanted to wait for that moment to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Had you figured out at that point what that warm feeling was that it went through your...
I always think I knew. It's hard to explain to people.
Absolutely.
Yep. I knew that he was with me. He was with me to be able to handle when they told me that he was going to have cancer. The Lord was with me when he said no surgery. Because at first, he said that, but and then explained himself of what the process was. So it was the Lord with me to say, it's going to be okay. Just calm yourself and we'll get through this.
Well, and sometimes you talked about the nudging, throughout your life, kind of nudging. I want people to understand as they listen to this, those types of feelings is God just nudging you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like you said, I'm here and I'm alone.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. And God's saying, yeah, you're not really alone.
Right.
We need family around us. We need the campground around us. We need our loved ones around us. Mm-hmm. We need that. But God says, you know what? For this moment, I'm here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think, because when the Dr. Naveed opened the door and that went through me, he looked at me and he said, do you have anybody with you? And I said, I'm okay.
Right.
And he said, do you need me to call somebody? I said, nope. Mm-hmm. So somewhere I knew I was okay.
Sure.
I don't know why I knew I was okay, but I knew that I didn't want to deal with all those people.
Absolutely.
So I had to tell them I'm alone and I'm dealing with this.
Absolutely.
And I'm not thankful that Kevin stayed with him. Retha, it was a long walk to get back to my car. Mm-hmm. And she walked with me as I mumbled, okay, I can pay for the car and I can pay for the trailer. We're going to be okay. We will have a roof over our head and I'll have a car to get back and forth to work. And then COVID was a blessing for me. And let me tell you why. Because I didn't have a lot of sick days at this point. I've used a lot going to his diagnosis and all of that. And now, okay, I got to help take care of him. I want to be with him. And just before his surgery, COVID hit. Guess who gets to sit home and get paid and not use her sick days? Because they still had to pay
The
us.
Lord he works awesome.
And one day, and then I couldn't be at the hospital with him during his recovery, but I thank God for technology, because I would set that FaceTime up. One day I was in my pajamas all day because he was having some heart palpitations, and I'm just like, okay, turn that to the monitor and go ahead and rest. Because that's what I would have been doing if I was in the room. It was frustrating that I couldn't fluff his pillow or do any of that stuff. But the nurse would come in. She would talk to me, just like if I was, because I was in the room in my own way. But I remember that day when he was having a little bit of fibrillation going on. And I just said, turn it so I can watch the monitor while you rest. I sat in my pajamas on the couch almost all morning watching that monitor till they got it under control.
Yeah.
But and I knew I could yell loud if I had to wake him up or get somebody in there.
Or call somebody.
Right. So, yeah. But, it just, again, it got us through the finances that I was worried about.
How God's worked.
Yep. So I got paid to be home and with him. And then they did do that where they were calling the parapros back just after I got him home. And then I was a little freaked out. So they said that I would pretty much... The other secretary would work one day and I would work another day. The first day I went in there, everybody was there. The other secretary was there, the principal was there, the counselor was there. All these people are around me and I'm like, wait a minute. You told me I would pretty much be alone. I've got a husband at home, just came home with missing half a lung. And I don't know what this COVID is. And why?
Nobody did.
Yeah. And because this was at the very beginning of it. They had just shut down the schools, but we had to be there to prepare work to send home with the kids. The kids that couldn't get online had to have paper stuff. We had to make copies and run off all this stuff. And yeah, they settled that and said that if I was there and there was a lot of people that I could answer phones in the back room by myself. I said, I'm just asking to be isolated. I'll come into work. But I want to be isolated so that I can keep him safe.
Listening to Joel Osteen is what really got me.
Well, it started with Dad.
Dad. Yeah, your dad, Uncle Bruce, my brother Ronnie, and my dad, But what really brought me even closer was the idea. The scriptures I get lost on, but it was Joel really made things simple. Made I understand. He said that, when you feel sorry for yourself or you feel bad or you say, for an example, I have cancer, you're owning it. No, I don't have cancer. I don't have cancer. Cancer doesn't own me. I own it. Mm-hmm. And so when you own it and you say no, it's just you have a better outlook, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You can don't feel sorry for yourself, because if you, I'm just so tired today. I can't make it today. Well, yeah, you're going to talk yourself into it. You're going to talk yourself into having a bad day. You're going to talk yourself into having a bad life. You look at the positive things. Because you know what? Like I was saying, when I was sitting there going through my chemo, I looked around and I felt lucky. Because I was not going through some of the things those folks were going through, people were going through. And it's like, why?
And sometimes he would come home and that's where I would see the tears. It wasn't because of what he was going through. It was because of what other people were going through. And sometimes he didn't understand, why is it so easy for me?
Why am I so lucky? Why is it so easy for me? Why is things being so easy for me to go through this? When I hear these other people, I had a young older couple Remember the one we had that was sitting to my right? They were from Niles.
Mm-hmm.
He
was like on his third round.
third
doing
round,
it, and
not third treatment.
Third round of cancer.
yeah,
Third round of cancer. It's like, why?
and he was so sick he didn't like
So,
coming there.
Yes, there is a time that I did ask God, why? Why is this being, why? And then
I would remind him, God has a plan.
he's got a plan.
We don't know what it is, but you gotta let it. You gotta let him do what he's
his
got to
thing.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you had lived your life so healthy up till
Oh
time of
yeah, I
cancer,
sure
right?
did. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
that
And
was
they
a-
said that his cancer is caused by his smoking.
smoking.
That's the only way
And I
that
quit
cancer
20 years ago.
Yeah, and that's why it was kind of amazed them that it's being found now when he quit so long ago. But fortunate too, it was a very slow growing cancer.
And again, we thank Jesus because he'll even use our stupidity,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Spite
I
of
mean,
ourselves.
Yeah.
In spite of ourselves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He used that to yeah.
So you walk out of chemo last. Chemo's radiation.
Radiation. I was celebrating. I was just like I was, I just like I say, I was done with it. I was just, I'm just now. I'm okay. I'm running, and my phone rings and I look at it. It's my son Cody, and he goes, "Dad." I said, "Yeah," and he's Dad. Dad. I said, "Yeah." He goes, Isaac passed away, my grandson. And I said, "What?" He says, "Isaac, he passed away last night, or this morning." He goes, "Dad, why? Why, Dad?" I said, "Son, I don't know." I said, "Dad, son, all I can tell you is I can't answer that. I just God's going to have to help you with that. God'll you'll have to just you have to trust God. He's got a plan. I guess I have this 1 minute. I'm just celebrating, and then all of a sudden, the world comes back and slaps me in the face. Satan said, "Oh no, 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 no! I'm going to steal your joy. I'm going to steal your happiness. I'm going to steal your reward. I'm going to steal you from him because you are. It's working. You're getting away from me. I'm losing you." And that's what I felt. I felt like he slapped me in the face, and I just said to my son, "Cody, I can't answer you that. All I know is we'll have to live our life serving the Lord and serving God, and when we stand in front of him, we'll have our answers." I said, that's just like the answers I want with my sister when I was 9 years old that was taken from me from a drunk driver. You're talking a Christian woman. You're talking a girl that was a senior going to graduate from Great Lakes Bible College. You're talking she was going to get married to a minister. Why was she taken and not the drunk? The most vile, worthless piece of crap in this world. That's where my anger comes from. That's why I realized anyway. I says, that's a question I'm going to ask him when I'm standing in front of him, because I will be standing in front of him. And I just didn't have the right words. But again, it was just amazing. The day before, I feel the rush, I feel the cleansing, and then I'm elated because I know we're going to be good. And then reality sets back in, and it's like God is there. He's there with me. He's there celebrating, but He's going to give me just so much. He's going to let Satan get in there just a little bit, and he knows where my faith and where I'm at. He knows that I'm going to be okay. He knows I'm going to turn my back on Satan. He knows. And so he'll let that in there just to let Satan,
And this all happened still before we had the dinner, before we knew where our finances
Right.
were going to go. It happened before his surgery. This was, and But I don't recall ever questioning the Lord. Ever. When he called me, I was at work, and he was on his way home from St. Joe, and he called me and told me I had a breakdown. I dropped the phone. I lost control. All the girls thought something happened to him, so my coworker ran around the desk and picked up the phone. And then when she got off the phone, she just looked at everybody else in the office. They just lost a grandson. And then everybody was devastated. They drove me
And
home.
Isaac was how old?
2.
He was just a
No, 1.
One.
Sorry,
No,
he just turned 3. He
just
just turned 1.
Just turned 1.
Yeah.
Since
He turned 1 on February 2nd, and he passed on February 21st. We FaceTimed with him the night before.
Yeah.
He was giving Cody a hard time and wouldn't go to bed. Cody was complaining. He just
Right.
was, and he was smiling. I snap pictures whenever we FaceTime, and he never would have known anything was wrong.
But it's amazing how your joy you're there and you're on the mountain. You're just screaming at the top of your lungs that thank you, Lord, for saving me. Thank you for giving me the grace. Thank you. And then all of a sudden, now you're back in the valley. It's like you almost want to say, man, I can't do this. No. You don't want to get down on it. You just got to keep plugging away, because no matter what is thrown at you, God is there. He's always there. You may not think He, but He is always there. All you got to do is say, Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. And I'll tell you, He'll be there. You might not see Him. Everybody wants, I got to feel it and see it, but you'll feel it here. You'll hear it here. Remember that time you thought you felt something staring at you? That was God. That was Jesus looking at you. He's always there. But anyway, so that's what happened there. And this, like I say again, this was before my surgery. This was before, all of that. And it was different. It was. You want to get angry, but you can't. Not that you can't, but you don't let that creep in. Don't let that anger or that self-pity creep in, because it's like a weed in your garden. When that weed gets in there, and when that weed gets that root, what will it do? It'll start to grow. And that's the same with self-doubt, self-pity. It'll start to grow, and before you know it, it opens up bigger and bigger and pushes you away.
So what do you do when you do have those moments and say, why?
I just know that I don't understand.
For
For me personally, I do not understand why these things happen. There's a reason why. And it's like I keep saying to Cody, I keep telling Cody, and I tell all my boys, live your life for the Lord, trust the Lord, and when you have all these questions, then you can answer them. You'll be able to ask them and get the answers. But until then, don't dwell on them. Don't say, well, why is God letting COVID happen? Why is God letting this happen? Why is God... No. He doesn't let these things happen to punish us. They're not sent by God. That's the way I can explain it. Maybe I miss it and I don't know. I explain it more. God knows how much you can take, just like with Job. Job was a godly man. And that's the thing that I kept looking at also going through this cancer, was Job had everything in the world. Great family, great farm, all the money, all this wealth, all the respect. And his wife said to him one day, Job, why don't you just curse God and die? That would have been simple, wouldn't it? But where would he spend eternity? Where would he spend eternity? Job came out of that, and this is what I've learned from Stephanie's double bypass, her car accident, my cancer, the cancer, the surgery. I have come out better, more blessed, more wealthy than I was when I was in it. That's the best I can explain it.
Yeah, I used to keep a little thing on my desk that said, if God brings me to it, he'll bring me through it.
And that's the thing that I look at is Job came out more wealthy, more blessed than he was when he went in. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it gets dark. I'm not going to lie to you. There was times it got dark. There was times when she wasn't around it. You know, yeah, I kind of.
So you are human.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that.
You're not walking on water yet.
No, I'm not walking on water yet. But no, I did at times.
You were fit?
I did.
Not angry?
You know, and I got angry, and to this day, there's times I get frustrated because I still am short of breath. I still have. But you know what? I say stop. Quit feeling sorry for yourself because you got a limited lung capacity, limited stamina, limited this, whatever. But you're still alive. You're able to share your story. You're able to share what your experience was.
You're able to serve.
You know, and the
I'm
biggest,
sorry, what'd you say?
He's able to serve.
and I'm able. God is. After all of this, like a truck driver for 22 years, on the road. I never realized, and I never thought that I was going to be able to retire at the age of 62. I'm retired. I retired at 62 in 4 months. God brought me to Warner Camp where I'm now the head cook, the food director, the food manager, whatever you want to call it. I have a blessed job that I'm sharing my life with kids and groups, and I have it all. I just didn't say I have it all. Yes, I have. God has blessed me well.
Tell us about your surgery. How much of the lung did they take out?
They took out the upper lobe.
Okay.
There's 3 lobes on the right side.
Okay.
And where the tumor was laying, it was in a part where it was right at the junction where it broke off and went to the upper lobe.
Okay.
So in order to do it proper, where they could get everything out and get all the cancer and get all that junk out of there, he had to do a lobectomy, I guess is how they pronounce it. So they took like a couple centimeters up, a couple centimeters below it. So they had to take the upper lobe. The lung itself had not worked because it was being blocked, but yet it was still viable. So they had to take that out. And when that Sasquatch was growing, Sequoma, I wish I could remember, but when it was growing, it was laying on the nerve that controls my diaphragm. So the diaphragm is not properly working on that side as of today.
Okay.
But that doesn't stop me. You can ask Stephanie.
But the difficult part of the surgery that, thank goodness, Dr. Lamb could do, that my doctor couldn't do, was reconnect the bronchial and the everything that has to go to the lower part of the lung.
Yeah.
Because you had to cut that out, and then they had to graft and reconnect.
Reconnect.
And he admitted that's why if he did the surgery, he would have to take the whole lung.
Mm-hmm.
So
the first surgeon, yes.
Dr. Lamb said no, he could do just the upper lobe, so he would still have more capacity because
where it was at a junction where they wanted to go below it and above it, and that tube that went up to the upper part of the upper lung had to go. And so they had, like taking a garden hose that's got a
Y on it.
Y on it, you had to cut it and you got to put it back together. So that's what they had to do.
Okay.
And it was, and there again, we got there in the morning, early, went down there, and people were, again, great people. We prayed together in the room, in the reception, or the surgery room before they took me and all of that. And they said, "Okay, we're ready to go." And I said, "Okay, let's do it." And all I know is when I woke up, I had my biggest cramp in my leg. I mean, it was all I kept saying is, "My leg is killing me." I just had my chest open and I had my lung laid out and all that. That don't bother me, but
Oh yeah, they let me. So I sat in the waiting room, and they just kept coming out. One person came out, would give me updates. It was about a 7-hour surgery.
Okay.
And then I got to go back and see him in recovery, and then I didn't get to see him again till I picked him up. But anyway, I went back there, and I touched his leg, and it was like a
knot.
Oh my gosh! And it's because he was laying on that side the whole time, and so I started rubbing it, and I said, "This is the problem." They're paying attention to his chest. I said, "No, this is the problem. The man is in pain here." And so then they got a heating pad for him, and I just rubbed and rubbed and rubbed until they kicked me out. But yeah, that was where he was hurting, and it was a solid. I mean, it was like a major Charlie horse up in his upper thigh.
And I had two nurses. I got to
Good
share
Christian
the testimony
women.
with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a Christian young girl. She was about 22, I think she was. She said 22. She lived close by, and I just had a great conversation with her. And again, she come out and said, "Your attitude is so positive." And I says, "What do you want me to be? Negative?" I mean, you in life, you take and you're not going to be able to. It's not everything's going to be perfect, but you don't sit and feel sorry for yourself. Move on. Let's And I had some really couple girls there that we shared a lot of talk.
Going back to your
nurses,
experiences
praying.
with Joel, that was one of the things that we both took. Is he preached a lot about not letting them steal our joy.
Don't let them steal our joy.
And in a lot of circumstances, that has helped us. I was having some difficulty at work, and, he would remind me, don't let them steal your joy. It's, it is what it is. And it's just something that we've become to try to live by, too. The Lord's with us. Don't let him, the devil, or anybody else steal our joy from what we're experiencing with the Lord in our relationship right now.
That's one of the things that the Lord did for me through your experiences. Because I probably am Joel Osteen's least fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a lot of problems theologically. I loved both of his parents.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen that church in action for our whole married life, which is 47 years this week.
Oh.
This week. Maybe tomorrow.
No.
And anyway.
You better
But
remember what day that is.
It is Tuesday. I just can't remember what today is.
You think the wrath of when God comes?
Yeah, exactly.
Whoo, don't.
But I remember discouraging you at first. Oh, Kenny, you got to get somebody better than him. Anyway, and then it struck me, because we're both truck drivers. I mean, not only cousins, and campers and everything else. And then it struck me, Joel Osteen's doing you a lot of good. You need, and it's what really your story, this story that we're hearing, is what drove Debbie and I to do the videos, to get the testimonies. I mean, Debbie and I have been through some tough times. I've been through some tough times.
Yep.
And and where we're at is not where our parents were in their lives as they began.
Yes.
Now, by the time they were our age, yes, they were serving Jesus.
Yes.
But we are really just barely second generation Christians.
Yes.
And so, Joel has done you very well.
Yes, and he helped me get on the track.
Exactly.
And now Warner Camp has expanded it and got me on the main line.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because I'm leading prayer groups now. Every once a week we have prayer on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Wednesday we have a staff meeting. But we alternate, so I'm doing that. I'm sharing. I when you're talking about our parents, and it really struck me. I wish I had brought it with me. Dad had a Bible, and it's really worn. It's a hardcover. And I used that in one of my meetings. And I said, I was sitting there thinking of what to share and what to minister on, what to talk about, what verses, all this. I said, but you know what? I think here. I laid the Bible down, and I says, what kind of Bible are we going to leave our children? We're going to leave them a Bible, and I pulled out one of my newer Bibles, and I put it next to it. I says, are we going to have a Bible like this that we leave our children? Or are we going to have a Bible like this, where it's worn? And I opened up, there's notes in there, there's passages, it's a wealth of information. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like, I said, and I just shared that with, and I said, that's what I'm striving for today, and tomorrow, and next week, and next year, and next, I said, I want to have a Bible that looks like my dad's. Notes in it, passages, the cover's worn, the pages scribbling on. I just, it's a very unique feeling when you have your father's Bible and you have the opportunity to sit and just look at it. And Warner Camp, again, we start with Joel, and then I moved into the Warner Camp where they're just like really expanding my horizons even more. And I'm telling you, folks, or whoever's listening, I'm going to speak to you in the camera right now. You need to have that one-on-one relationship with God. Take it from somebody who has lived on both sides of the fence, the world and the Lord. Let me tell you something. I'd rather be on the Lord's side any day of the week. I'd rather be there. Because even if somebody asked me a question one time, well, if you die and there's no reward for you, what are you going to do? I said, but here, think of it. If I die and I live in the world and then my reward was there, then what do I do? It sounds crazy, but I'm just telling you, that's what I live for. Because when you leave this vessel and you leave this earth, you leave this planet, we don't know where we go. Well, I do. I'm going to heaven. Well, what I mean by that is, people say, well, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know? Well, I always, like I said, I'd rather die and go to heaven than die and spend eternity in hell. So I'd rather take my chances the other way. Because, first of all, I'm much more happier. Second of all, I'm much more blessed. I mean, like I say, God has blessed us even through all the problems, the kicks, the hits, the knocks, the bumps in the head. We're blessed. I'm retired at 62. I'm working at a youth camp that I just love sharing the word. My wife has got a job that she loves, and so God has blessed us. We got a beautiful home. God has just blessed us all the way through.
I got a beautiful trailer.
And
Mhm.
and the biggest thing is, you always worry what kind of impact, and I don't like putting what kind of impact are you going to have on people? What are you going to leave as a legacy? Well, when my kids put together a fundraiser or a spaghetti dinner for me, I was blown away. The amount of love, and it's like the people that just came, and it's like every one of them shared stories of how I was just, I loved them, or I did this for them, or I did that for them, or I was just, and it's like, wow, I never realized that. I just went through life just doing what I want. It's just like, I just want to, I love everybody. I just want everybody to be happy, and, I'm always there for everybody. So I guess I was really taken back on that when they ran out of spaghetti 3 times and had to go for spaghetti because they kept running out of food. But yeah.
Well, and then I never knew that man, John. He went to school with, and he did so much for us. He made those beautiful signs that we have at the trailer now. He donated stuff for the raffle. He went to and got a donation, and he increased the donation so that it was $1,000. He did all that, and he listened to us, and he listened to Ken's testimony. He followed and talked to us and talked to Ken through all of it. And his daughter is someone that works at the cancer center, and she is a cancer survivor. And they connected because there was one of the dates matched up. Something that his daughter went through matched up with the date of what Ken was going through. But anyway, just last year, he reached out to Ken and said, "Can I come see you?"
It was, let me think about it. This is in February. It was August.
And he came up to our house. I was at work. He just wanted to show Ken his port that he had cancer.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't want it.
He
just wanted to talk to him about his experiences and go through it. And we were just in the car Christmas going up to my mom's.
Yeah.
And
what a
text
phone call.
comes through, and it's him, cancer free.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
I mean, we both just started bawling in joy.
That was an awesome Christmas
present.
Yeah.
And that,
It was the idea that I was able to be there for him, support him, just like he supported me, and he just.
And we felt like we couldn't do enough for him after everything he did for us, but that's all he needed was somebody to talk to.
Yeah, somebody to walk through it with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's been would I do it over? Oh yeah. Not the bad part. No. Would I go through all this again? Yeah. If I could just reach one person and say, trust him. Turn it, lay it at his feet. Let him do it. It's not, what is that called? Not my will, your will. It's as simple as that. And that was one of the biggest lessons I took out of this goes back to when I was calling this doctor, calling that doctor. When can we, and I was pushing. And yeah, sometimes you have to be proactive, but I wanted it when I went up to that doctor, Dr. Lamb's office, and I sat right there with her, and this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to do.
We had a plan.
I had a plan. I had it all planned out. He looked at me, he says, No, he said, we're just going to do it like this. And he said, we're going to have to
And
get
he
you-
had a big old ugly piece of paper that he just flipped over and started drawing everything out. The whole plan. This is where it's at. This is what we're gonna do. And I'm just like, okay.
And you talk about you know, again, you're talking about
Burst
in
in
the
a
face.
bubble. Yeah.
Again.
And I think that we sat in the car on the way home for almost an hour not talking. Like,
God again telling us, hey, dude.
And then, and then the COVID really hit, and, they couldn't get, luckily, again, God, praise Him, the campground let us move I pleaded to them and I said, is there any way we can move our trailer in before his surgery, because he's not going to be in any shape to be doing all of that. And they said yes. And then the lockdown came and our trailer was there. And Scott, when he was going through his recovery, and we could only go in during the day and work around our lot, but we couldn't stay there, Scott made a comment. He goes, yeah, those Fletchers, they came in, put those tennis balls on their chair, took them all day, but they got them on there. Yep, we did. We went and put some tennis balls on our chairs, and then we'd sit by the fire all day, it's where we needed to be.
Again, it was like it was a spiritual place where it was just.
And your angry head did come up a couple times during that time period. There was a couple times he was so angry that he could not be at that campground. And he had a few of these moments because of COVID, and he couldn't. Why can't I get there? That's where he wanted to be so bad that it was just get up in the morning and let's go home. But he wanted to be there. And the frustration did get him a few times, but we made it through. And then they extended our year into the fall a little bit more, so he was good.
Right.
But he was, he had a plan too, is when he was going to go back to work, and he wanted to be there to recover at the camper.
Didn't happen, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Again, I look back and say,
And that's when I had sent them. So there's a lot of things. Again, I was in that financial mode. I thought I was going to have to give up the campground. So, you have to let them know at the first of the year, you have to have your deposit. And I sent an email and I said, I'm really sorry. I know you couldn't give up our lot. I can't do it. I can't say that I have that money right now. And about 3 weeks later, I got an email back saying,
I thought it came in the mail. Regular snail mail.
Well, I got an email first, and it said that they said that we feel your presence here is more important than the money. Your lot is paid in full.
Yeah.
And that's how we got through that year.
So that's why I want to give back to them, because they were there for me, and I give back to them, and I just, it's just all, yeah. I just sat and talked with him, and because he was having really some difficult times. He had problems with doctors that couldn't get the answers, and I just said, well, you just got to get more proactive. And I said, the second thing is, you just got to trust God. You just got to just ask God, what direction do I go? And I just got an update about 4 months ago. He's cancer free.
Nice.
He's cancer free, working. So at that, and I've shared it. I've shared it at camp with kids. I love sharing. I love sharing it, especially the when you're walking out and that sun hits you and that just trust. It's just been I've shared it as much as I can, and I'll share it till the day I'm gone.
Amen.
And it's just, the thing is, the biggest thing is, out of everything in my life, everything, don't ever think that God's not there. Don't ever think that just because you didn't live the life that you thought you did, or you did some things wrong, or you come up short. He loves you unconditionally, just like I love my boys no matter what they say, do. I love them unconditionally. I'm always there for them. I always will be there for them. He's the same way. So don't think just because you don't know the Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelations, or you can't share the scriptures off the top of your head. He don't care about that. It's what's right here. It's right here. You know, those are nice because then you can share it. But at the same time, it's like I've told kids, boys, my boys, anybody. People will, unfortunately, judge you by not what you say or what comes out of your mouth or what you read, or it's what your actions are. Your actions, the way you live, the way you share your life. That's what comes across the hardest. That's the most, is the way you live your life. If you live your life for our Lord and our Savior, the Bible is like a guide. It's a how-to book, however you want to say it. But living your life for that will speak volumes.
Well, that wraps it up for today, my friends. If something Kenny has said and Stephanie have said, if their story has encouraged you, please leave us a comment in the comments below. We would love to hear what you think of the story, the format of this, any of that. We would love to know what you're thinking. Did you enjoy it? Was it a good story? Tell us what you're thinking. Please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do. Hit like and ring that bell for notifications. As we go on from here, I'm looking forward to sharing other stories with you. We will probably take next week and share some of our story again. And then following that, we're going to have another couple that we've already done the interview with, and we're going to share their story. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you for stopping by. Again, subscribe, like, comment, ring the bell. We would greatly appreciate it. Lord, bless the people that are listening to this story whenever and wherever they are. Lord, be with them, keep them, make your face to shine upon them, and receive glory and build your kingdom through these stories that we share. Thank you so much. Amen. God bless you, folks.